just hear Shelvia Dancy talking? Didn't you hear me state at the beginning?
Yep.
At 17, he's already on parole. He has a rap sheet as long as a football field. What are you talking about? Rehabilitation.
He's a bad kid, okay? Totally agree.
Why did you bring up rehab?
Because the function of the criminal justice system, historically, Nancy, whether you like it or not, was when people were young, they weren't punished, they were treated, they were rehabilitated, and we tried to make them better people. That went out the window a long time ago.
You're totally leaving out the other two prongs of the system. Let's go to Jay Fahey, former prosecutor. Jay, do you believe he'll be tried as an adult?
He'll absolutely be tried as an adult. He was on probation, he has a criminal record, and he killed 2 students. I love Mickey Sherman, but Mickey, you're way off base on this one. He will absolutely be tried as an adult.
I'm not advocating that he shouldn't be, but it's the reality that it's a departure from the historic way the criminal justice system works.
Those are cases about shoplifting or joyriding. They're not about cold-blooded murder. John Richardson, weigh in.
Well, I think that you have to have enough evidence to be able to charge him with murder to begin with. But remember, he's innocent until proven guilty.
Please. I'd like to see John Richardson's face. Enough evidence? Doesn't that go without saying? Are we back on the broken record, presumed innocent, unless and until the state pierces that presumption with evidence that goes beyond reasonable doubt? Doesn't that go without saying, John? Of course, there's got to be evidence, for Pete's sake.
Well, yes, but also I think you have to consider his role. Is this a kid who's sitting there watching someone else shocked to his surprise murdering somebody, or is he pulling the trigger?
Well, John,
I think these factors should be entertained.
I agree with you completely, John Richardson, but which murder are you talking about? The first one or the second one? Was he shocked at both of them?
Both.
Was it a big surprise?
Both, Nancy.
Oh, okay. All right. To Shelvia Dancy with News 14 there in Carolina. Shelvia, what can you tell me about one of these defendants being in court on yet another charge 48 hours before Eve Carson is gunned down in cold blood, and they slipped through the cracks?
There's no question that when you look at the list of charges that Levitt has been facing, when you look at his arrest record, this kid is no stranger to the justice system. In fact, just tomorrow,
he's 17. It's
young person, forgive me, with this young person is no stranger to the justice system. In fact, he was supposed to be in court again tomorrow on some breaking and entering and larceny charges. A lot of people I've been talking to have been wondering, how was it that this guy is back on the street? And I tell you, these are deaths that have really resonated in the community. People want answers at this point, and they really want some answers from the justice system, from judges, from prosecutors as to how is this happening. One woman I spoke with today actually used that term revolving door. She said this is a classic example, in her opinion, of that revolving door.
Out to the lines, Lee in Massachusetts. Hi, Lee.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm good, dear. What's your question?
Pretty much, I want to know how fast was the determination for them to connect Lawrence Lovett to the Duke killing?
Good question, Lee. What about it, Colonel Scott?
Well, they seem to make that connection pretty quickly, and who knows what happened in the interview process once they took him into custody and once they decided that he was going to be connected to that Duke killing. We haven't been made privy. The Durham police haven't really said anything to us about their investigative process and what questions they have asked, but they made that connection, as that caller said, very quickly.
You know, I want to go to Tom Shamshak, private investigator, former police chief, joining us from Boston, Massachusetts tonight. Tom, welcome back. We know about APHIS, which is a nationwide bank of fingerprints. Okay, we know about the DNA bank, CODIS. Is there such a bank for ballistics?
Yes, Nancy, there is. The Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms maintains a database. The forensic evidence that was obtained should have been run through those databases.
I want to go back out to the lines. Annette in Wisconsin. Hi, Annette.
Hello, Nancy. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am.
And we love it when you share the babies with us.
Thank you. I'll have more photos tomorrow night.
Oh, wonderful.
What's your question, dear? My digicam was full. I couldn't take any today.
I was wondering, are these two young men, are they gang-related? Could this be a gang initiation?
How many times are they getting initiated, Annette?
I
This is
don't know.
murder number 2, according to police. But good question. Back out to Grinnell Scott, WPTF Radio. We've been talking about, for instance, the hat that one of them were wearing. And you got cut off by a commercial break last night. Let's talk about that very quickly, Grinnell, and the possibility this was some type of an initiation.
That has been floated as this is part of an initiation. The hat, very quickly, an old Houston Astros hat, a star with an H in the middle, was considered by police to be a symbol of a group called the Hoover Crips in the Durham area. And many police officers have seen that hat on many gang members, so they are still holding that information very close to them, but they haven't given up the possibility that it is gang-related.
Let's go out to Dr. Daniel Spitz, medical examiner, forensic pathologist. He's joining us out of Madison Heights, Michigan. Question, doctor. Police have now charged Lovett in the death of yet another student there at Duke, many miles away. Explain to us the science of comparing the ballistics.
Well, I think, first of all, that the speed with which they link these two murders has to be related to some kind of forensic science. And
a witness, David.
Yeah, or a witness. But I think because we didn't know this man's name before, likely the link is something other than a witness. Now, certainly a witness may corroborate that, but forensic science would be able to link that. And the way that it's done is to take two bullets and to look at the markings on those bullets using a microscope. And because the markings are so unique, depending on what gun they're fired from, if the markings are the same, then you know they're fired from the same weapon.
You know, it's quite a process. If you see it done, you take the known bullet, the bullet found at the crime scene or in a body, you compare it to, you get the gun, you fire a pristine bullet through that gun, possibly into water, possibly into whatever. You fire the gun, you take that bullet under a microscope. As the bullet hurtles down the barrel of the gun, markings are left on it, metal to metal, that are, it's like a fingerprint. Yes, no, doctor?
It is. It's very much like a fingerprint, and if you have two bullets from two different crime scenes, you can match those bullets to a particular weapon. So that's
when
how
we
I
come
think
back,
this is
Dr.
made.
Bethany Marshall, psychoanalyst, weighs in. We are taking your calls live. 2 suspects behind bars in the shooting death of student body president Eve Carson. Now one linked to a shooting miles away at Duke University. Stay with us.